Hey there, this is Scott from the Green and Red podcast. We're taking a break from our regularly scheduled program of politics and history and radical organizing to share a special offer with you. And I'll let Bob take it from here.
Yeah, this is Bob. And as always, thanks for participating in the Green and Red experience. And we often ask you to send us a few bucks if you have it. And we're going to try to sweeten the pot a little bit. We don't have tote bags like NPR, which Democrats take to knife fights. But we do have some books, which as a listener or viewer of the Green and Red podcast, we know you love. So if you want to send us some money, we'll send you a book or some books. Essentially the way Scott and I figured this out, if you send us $35, you get a book. If you send us $60, you get 3 books. If you send us $125, you get all of them. And I'll show you what they are in a minute. But if you want to send us something in between, we'll figure it out. We don't have a huge number of them, but we have enough that, we can satisfy what you want. These are books that I have done. So they are part of the Bob Buzzanco collection. Anyway, to start off, and I'm going to do this kind of chronologically, and I did a lot of these because I'm a professor of US history, so I've done a lot of these in order to use them in my classes. So a lot of these are edited collections. And I know Scott's, I think, used some of these too. Scott, long ago, not that long ago, because we're not that old, but long ago, was a student of mine, actually, was in some of my classes. The first one is a kind of a textbook, kind of an overview of US history from the colonial period to the Civil War, called American Power, American People. I am a co-author of that. That is not my specialty, so I did not write the whole thing, but I contributed to it. We have a book here that I put together, which I love. It's called Question Authority, Resistance and Protest in Colonial and Early US History. It is a collection of essays and documents about early American history, people who rebelled. It's, I think, like really outstanding. I'm really kind of cool about, happy with that. I'm kind of proud of it. We have a collection of documents also called As They Said It. And there's a picture of Frederick Douglass on the cover. And this is speeches and documents and papers and things like that from early US history, from the period before the Civil War. You used some of these, Scott, didn't you? You're familiar with some of these, aren't you?
Yeah, I own a few of them, and they're quite useful. The original original documents collections are actually quite useful to not just have some sort of spin on what happened in history, but the history and actual people's words. And we're not here at the Green and Red podcast. We don't consider ourselves originalists like they might on the Supreme Court, but we do like to go directly to the source when we look at things.
Well, the Supreme Court isn't originalist either, since they don't really know much about what they're doing. But yeah, having a good understanding of history is really important. And I think, and I would actually say not only the Supreme Court, but a lot of lefty media kind of has a different sense of history. So these are really useful. It's always important to kind of go back. And I always tell my students, I go to the original source. Don't listen to something that somebody else said, or some meme or something like that. And so these books are really great for that. Then for later in US history, this is for, you teach history in 2 halves. The first part is from the colonial period to the Civil War, which I really teach infrequently, and I haven't taught that for years. The second part, which I teach all the time, is from the Civil War to the present. And that's kind of my area of expertise, right? And so I put together some books for that, and I think these are really great too. The first, and this is a great favorite, if nothing else, because of the picture, right? It's called Reelin in the Years. And it's a collection of essays and documents about the US since 1945. That is the most famous picture in National Archives history, when Elvis met Nixon. And in fact, we recently had on Matt Crow, and didn't his father, Krogh, okay, didn't his father, Eagle Krogh, set this up? I think
Yes, he did. This.
Yeah,
yes,
so
he did.
Where else are you going to get that? We got to be like PBS Telethon here. Where else are you going to get this? All right. Do we have some green and red tote bags we could give away?
No, not yet. We're hoping to get a landslide in donations, and so we can invest in some tote bags and coffee mugs.
Yeah, we got to buy some swag. We also have this, which is similar to Reelin in the Years, post 1945 US history readings and documents, just a different collection, and also has some really good stuff in it. Another book which kind of goes back further. These are post 45. This is American Society since 1900, and again, it's a collection that covers American politics, culture, and war, of course, because that's always a big theme in US history: war, imperialism, militarism. And then another book of documents, As They Said It, Volume 2, This one has TR on the cover. That was not my choice. But this
TR
is
being
also
Theodore Roosevelt for the
Theodore
audio
Roosevelt,
listeners.
yeah. And I think the editors wanted to do this to kind of make it a little bit less, radical or whatever. So, but and we have this one too. And if you do want to give money and you have, one of these catches your eyes, please feel free to tell us. We can send. I have some of all of these, and then two more that I put together, which are kind of more specific. This is, I think, awesome. This may be my favorite. It's called War, Imperialism, and Dissent, which is about U.S. foreign policy. And I use this in classes I've taught on U.S. foreign policy, classes on imperialism, classes on globalization. It has all kinds of great stuff in it. And then if you really want to get specific, I have one on my area of specialization, which is Vietnam. And we have here documents and readings about the Vietnam War. So all of these are available. This is stuff that I put together. There's I think 9 books there. And like I said, if you send us 35, we'll send you one, 60 for 3, 125 for all of them. If you want to give more, that's cool. If you want to give a different amount, we'll figure it out. And then, go ahead.
Well, I'll say one other thing is we have actually another layer. If you're part of some institutionalized left media, the price will be double. If you're from a corporation, the price will be triple. And if you're from law enforcement, the price will be quadrupled. So just to put that out there.
Yeah, if it's Elon Musk, it's $1 million, right? Yeah. And then if you really want to be generous, we have the actual Bob Buzzanco collection here. These are books that I have written. And I know the first one you're familiar with because I always show it because I'm kind of obnoxious and I have an ego. But I'm very proud of this. This is the first book I wrote. It's called Masters of War, Military Dissent and Politics in the Vietnam Era. It won an award, actually, when it came out as the best book that year, which I'm sure the people who gave it to me really liked it. So that I was always very proud of that.
And we're hoping James DiGenio from the Oliver Stone assassination theory, conspiracy theory, one of the assassinologists, will actually order a couple of copies of that for all of his colleagues, because they definitely need to be reading it.
Oliver Stone, if Oliver Stone wants this, I'd say what, 500 at least, or 1,000?
Yeah, definitely. Although, just to maybe set the record straight with Oliver Stone, I would personally out of pocket donate that to Oliver Stone.
I would too. And in fact, if he comes on the Green and Red podcast, we're gonna juice this up a little bit. In addition to the crisp $100 bill, I'm gonna give him a free signed copy of Masters of War. So if you're listening and you know Oliver Stone, tell him. All right, we've doubled down. We're going all in.
We know he listens to our stuff because that's what his little cronies have told us. So
yeah. And in fact, this book, as much as anything, and I'm really showing my ego here, really does repudiate the whole JFK conspiracy thing. Okay, so it's $100 at least for a copy of this, and I'll even sign it for you. Second book I did, which I'm really proud of, and it's kind of cool. And if you buy this off the Blackwell site, that's who published it way back when, it's actually more than $100. So you'd be getting a deal on it. So $100, Vietnam and the Transformation of American Life. That's about the Vietnam War. It's about the 60s, civil rights, Great Society, the hippies, all kinds of stuff like that. Great book.
Right? Held it up to the camera for a minute.
Scott's read that.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
It's an important book to read.
And finally, a book I'm very proud of, which I edited with the great legendary historian Marilyn Young. It's a collection of essays called A Companion to the Vietnam War. It was we put this out in the early 2000s. At the time, it was the best collection of essays there are. I think it still might be. It has essays by, I think, 20 or 30 different scholars, all kinds of different topics about the Vietnam War. If you want to learn about the Vietnam War, this is a great place to go. So, and these are 100 each, at least. And like I said, I'll sign up for you. I'm sure that people will be like hitting their phones right now to call in. So anyway,
people are standing by on the phone right now.
Right. We have Hollywood celebrities taking phone calls right now. Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, we do appreciate it. We actually have gotten a fair number of contributions. If you want to join Patreon, we can also work through that. So, just kind of talk to us and we'll figure something out. At any rate, how do they get a hold of us, Scott?
Yeah, if you want to make a donation and get a book or a set of books from the Bob Buzzanco collection, you can email us at greenredpodcast@gmail.com. No and in there. greenredpodcast@gmail. you can instant message us on Instagram or on Facebook or on Twitter, actually, for that matter. And then you can also check out our website, greenandredpodcast.org, and you can find all kinds of ways to kind of reach out to us there. And then you also, if you just want to go ahead and make a donation and let us know, and then we'll send you, we'll send you some books. You can go to greenandredpodcast.org, our website, and hit that support button. And if you want to become a patron at Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/greenredpodcast. You can become a recurring donor. We could also kind of figure out something with that where it's a little bit like putting it on layaway. So you sign up to be a $3 a month patron or a $10 a month patron, and then we'll send you some of the books in good faith as you become
actually
a patron.
Speaking of layaway, I'm in Ohio right now, and I'm not going to lug all these back to Texas with me. So if you donate now, we'll definitely mail it out. But if you wait a bit, it may take a little longer to get it to you, but I guarantee you that we will. We'd appreciate that, and just be a little bit patient. But yeah, we really enjoy doing this. Obviously, we have a little bit of overhead. People have been generous. We're trying to kind of get a little bit of money in right now so that we can expand our operations, and continue to bring you all kinds of stuff that is really hard to come by. You'll never get it in the mainstream media. You're certainly not going to get it on MSNBC or CNN, and you really don't get much of this on lefty media either. So if there's we'll also put this on.
And if you do, it's usually after we've done it. Just
how many times have we seen that happen where somebody writes something and says no one's ever done this, and we did it 6 months ago.
Yep.
And
you definitely won't find us promoting the nuclear industry on our show. We won't be talking about how the left should embrace nuclear power.
We don't think there's really such a thing as democratically controlled corporate capitalism, although those good people from Brooklyn apparently are trying to set us straight on that. So also, if you want to know about these books, we will put up, I don't know if it's on the webpage yet or not, but we'll put images of this up on the webpage. You can also look at my blog, which is called afflictthecomfortable.org, afflictthecomfortable, one word, .org, and I have a little bit of something on there about these as well. You can also just send me, if you want to send me a message on Twitter or Facebook. I'm pretty much public on both of those. If you want to know what the books are, you can look at the webpage or somewhat, we'll have it up there. It's also on the Green and Red Facebook page. So, and I think it's on Twitter too, so you can find out what they are and tell us what you want. And the
Instagram, actually it's on the Instagrams too.
Okay, so yeah, we're easy to find. We're easy to find. So
one last pitch. We also have a new batch of postcards. And so if you want some Green and Red podcast postcards, and you're up for taking 20 and putting them out in your local coffee shop, or going to your local anarchist meeting and passing them out, or something, or your local DSA meeting, they especially need to be hearing this.
Dispensary.
Or your dispensary, just email us at greenredpodcast@gmail.com, and we will send you a packet of with an address, please. And then we will pay for delivery, and we will send them to you.
We appreciate everything you've done. The Green and Red Gang, in like a little over 2 years now, has grown. We have a good number of people who listen to us, who watch us on YouTube, who follow us. We get great feedback. We're never going to have the kind of budget that big lefty media does. So we try to get some nickels and dimes. We'll take money that jingles or folds. It's our motto. Yep. And we'll, whatever we get, we use to kind of give back to you guys and get on guests and do more stuff. So we appreciate it more than I can say.
And just for one last time, if you're interested in making a donation, getting the books, you can email us at greenredpodcast@gmail. You can instant message us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also just make a straight up donation at greenandredpodcast.org and hit the support button, or become a patron at patreon.com/greenredpodcast. You can also message us on Patreon as well. We appreciate all of y'all, everyone who listens, everyone who's going to listen to this. And we will be back soon with some more hard-hitting politics and historical and honestly just by cutting-edge radical commentary. And we'll talk to you all again real soon.